The Exodus, a journey of faith and freedom. It was a moment etched forever in the history of faith and deliverance, a moment where the impossible became possible through divine power. The Israelites, a people who had lived for centuries as slaves in Egypt, found themselves at a crossroads of hope and terror. After years of pleading, prayers, and the dramatic plagues that had finally compelled Pharaoh to let them go, the Israelites, thousands of men, women, and children, journeyed toward freedom. They carried with them the few possessions they could gather, their hearts both hopeful and fearful. Their leader, Moses, marched ahead, guided by the promise of a land God had prepared for them. But freedom was not going to come easily. Word soon reached the Israelites. Pharaoh had changed his mind. The Egyptian ruler, furious and bitter, had sent his mighty army, chariots and soldiers, to bring the escaped slaves back to bondage. As the Israelites reached the shores of the Red Sea, desperation took hold. On one side stretched the vast, impassable waters of the sea. On the other, they could see the approaching dust cloud on the horizon, signaling the arrival of Pharaoh's army. The cold reality of their predicament sank in, and panic spread through the crowd. Was it because there were no graves in Egypt, some cried out to Moses, that you brought us to die here in the desert? Fear gripped their voices, their faith shaken by the looming disaster. But Moses stood firm, his faith unshaken. He raised his arms high and declared, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." At Moses' words, a strange, powerful silence fell over the people. Then, something extraordinary began to happen. Moses, following God's command, extended his staff over the sea. Instantly, a mighty wind howled through the area. Before their wide eyes, the waters defied nature itself. They divided into two towering walls of water, exposing a dry path straight through the heart of the sea. With no other choice and their faith reignited, the Israelites began their journey into this miraculous passageway. Step by step, they walked on dry ground, the waters standing tall like protective walls on their left and right. Every step they took was filled with awe, fear, and hope. Behind them, Pharaoh's army drew closer, their chariots entering the sea passage as well, intent on capturing them. But God had other plans. Once the Israelites reached the far side safely, Moses again stretched out his staff. The walls of water that had stood so firm now crashed down with unrelenting force. The Red Sea returned to its natural state, swallowing Pharaoh's army in its depths. Not a single soldier remained. The Israelites stood on the far shore, trembling not with fear, but with awe. They were free, truly free. The sea, which had seemed like their doom, became their salvation. Cries of joy erupted. Songs of praise filled the air as the people lifted their voices to God, acknowledging his power and grace. Moses' sister, Miriam, led the women in song, their tambourines ringing across the vast desert. "Sing to the Lord, for he is highly exalted. Both horse and driver he has hurled into the sea." That day, the Israelites crossed more than just a body of water. They crossed into a new chapter of their identity, forever marked by God's deliverance. Though their journey through the wilderness was far from over, their faith was renewed. The God who had parted the sea would guide them, step by step, toward the promised land. Thanks for watching this video. Also consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on faith and spirituality.